Imagine you are trying to guess the exact number of jelly beans in a giant jar. If you pick a single number, like 542, you are almost certainly wrong. But what if you said, I am 95% sure there are between 500 and 600 jelly beans? Now you've created a safety net. In statistics, this is called a confidence interval. It moves us from guessing a point to providing a range where the truth likely hides. In the world of data, we rarely know the true population mean. For example, we can't measure the height of every human on Earth. Instead, we take a sample. But samples are fickle. Every time you take a new one, the average changes. This variation is why a single number, a point estimate, is risky. It's like trying to catch a fish with a spear in murky water. You'll probably miss. A confidence interval is the fishing net. To build this net, we rely on the Central Limit Theorem. It tells us that if we take enough samples, their means will form a beautiful symmetrical bell curve, the normal distribution. The peak is our best guess, but the wings or tails of the curve show us how much error we might expect. Most of our sample means will cluster near the true center, while only a few will be far off in the distance. Let's look at the anatomy of a confidence interval. It's made of three parts. First, the sample mean, our starting point. Second, the critical value, usually a z-score, which depends on how sure we want to be. And third, the standard error, which accounts for the spread of our data and the size of our sample. When we multiply the z-score by the standard error, we get the margin of error, the distance our net stretches to the left and right. The most common choice is the 95% confidence level. But what does 95% confident actually mean? It doesn't mean there is a 95% chance the true mean is inside your specific interval. It means that if we repeated this experiment 100 times, 95 of those intervals would successfully capture the true population mean, and 5 would miss it. It is a statement about the reliability of our process, not just one single result. Let's see this in a real-world context. Political polling. When you see a headline saying a candidate has 52% support with a margin of error of 3%, you are looking at a confidence interval. The interval is actually 49% to 55%. If the interval includes 50%, the race is too close to call. This safety net prevents us from declaring a winner prematurely based on a small sample of voters. Another crucial application is quality control in manufacturing. Imagine a factory producing 10mm bolts for an airplane wing. If the bolts are too thin, the wing fails. If too thick, they won't fit. Engineers use confidence intervals to ensure that the average bolt size stays within a tiny, safe range. If a sample's interval shifts too far from 10mm, the machines are stopped. Statistics here is quite literally a safety net for human lives. As we increase our sample size, our net becomes smaller and more precise. Why? Because more data reduces uncertainty. Conversely, if we want to be 99% confident instead of 95%, our net must get wider to cover more possibilities. Statistics is always a trade-off between precision and certainty. You can be very precise but wrong, or very broad and certain but less useful. In conclusion, confidence intervals acknowledge that while we can't be perfect, we can be calculated. They transform the chaos of raw data into a range of scientific probability. Whether it's testing a new life-saving drug or predicting the next economic shift, we don't just want a number. We want the safety net that tells us how much we can trust that number.